So in this video, I am going to run you through the most important numbers of the budget 2021-2022. So I'll be running you through the most important key points and highlights, and these are very helpful for all the upcoming bank examinations. But remember that we have to go deeper when you are talking about RBI grade B or some advanced bank exams. So I'll be making a full course for that later on, but this one will be working as a key points analysis. So let's begin and let's see all the important things about this budget. Hi, this is Supriyo. So this is the highlights of the budget that we just saw today. And remember that I am not going into each and every pillar and all the individual things. And these things, the individual things and the more focused type of preparation, it's very important for RBI grade B. And therefore, I'll be making some other videos for that. So don't worry about that. Just understand that this, whatever I have compiled today, I have just seen the budget and I was just making notes as I went along. So I'll just be discussing the most important things, and these are the things that you need to cover for all the upcoming examinations. So let's begin. The first one is definitely that this was the first completely paperless budget. So this is very, very important. Budget 2021-2022 is the first budget where we had complete paperless budget. And also remember that we have actually had a made in India tablet on which this was actually presented. And so it is also called the digital Baikata tablet. So just remember this. So that was the tablet on which the budget speech, it was there, and Nirmala Sitharaman, she actually delivered that speech from that tablet. So that was the important thing. And another figure that is quite important, though it does not actually represent something that was done in the budget, it is the Atmanirbhar Bharat total. So the total amount overall, the 3 times that it has actually been disbursed by the government, the total amount is rupees 27.1 lakh crore, which represents about 13% of the gross domestic product of India. Now this is quite important because this was the economic injection, so to say, so that we could have our economic recovery. And Nirmala Sitharaman, she actually mentioned that figure, so it's quite important. Make a note of it. PM Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana, the allocation for that was 64,180 crore. And we also had a very important news that there's going to be the privatization of 2 public sector banks and 1 public sector insurance company. Now we have not got the names of these organizations, which was quite surprising. And if you see the markets, the bank Nifty actually just touched the highest peak today just because of this news, because we did not know which banks she actually mentioned. And remember that this is except the IDBI bank, so that actually makes things a bit more mysterious perhaps, and the markets loved it. And as you understand, the private investors, the foreign investors, everybody was very happy about it, though you and I, we probably are not going to be that happy about it. The common man might not be happy, but it is what it is. And the privatization, this was actually a very important clarion call for this budget, because many a times a government has always used the word divestment, but this time privatization was told explicitly. And so we have to understand the intent of the government is to actually go for the privatization, and there's no mistake about it anymore. So that's the thing. And so the strategic disinvestment target for this financial year, it's going to be 1.75 lakh crore. So this is the disinvestment target. Then the fiscal deficit, this is quite important. Remember that the projected fiscal deficit was somewhere around 3%, 3.5%. That was the projection last year. But as we know that coronavirus struck, and then every single thing, every single projection has now been mismatched. And the fiscal deficit for 2020-21, a very important figure, this is 9.5% of the GDP. Now this is quite a high figure. Remember this. And most of this excess thing, the excess deficit that we have, it's going to be financed by borrowings, external borrowings by the government. And definitely RBI is going to help to finance that. They are going to make the necessary debt financing available to the government. And just understand that this is a record number. And according to the FRBM Act, they actually had to just put out a clarification. They are going to draft a deviation for the FRBM Act. And I think Nirmala Sitharaman also told about an amendment. So we don't need to go into details about that. Just remember the figure. And the projection for 2021-22, it's 6.8% of GDP. So remember that fiscal deficit, it's going to reach less than 4.5% by financial year 2025-2026. So that is the long-term roadmap that she has laid out in this budget. The next thing is about the India's BRICS presidency. So as you know that we are going to host it for the third time, and we are going to be the BRICS president for this year, and we are going to also host the 13th summit in 2021. So there was a mention of this, and that's why I put it down. It's not directly related to the budget. Now coming to the allocation for Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So 1,18,101 lakh crore has been allocated to the Transport Ministry. The mandatory vehicle test. Now this is actually a scrappage norm that has now been introduced by the government. So commercial vehicles, they have to be tested after every 15 years, and if they are found to be not suitable, if they are maybe polluting the environment too much, then they have to be taken off the road. And for private vehicles, it's going to be 20 years. So every 20 years you need to go with your car, get a checkup, and if the car is found to be not suitable, then you cannot drive it anymore. So that's the thing that they have now mentioned. Now the national infrastructure pipeline, we have heard about it a lot. This is going to be expanded to 7,400 projects. The next thing is very important, the national asset monetization pipeline. Now I am not sure if everybody understood. So they said that they are going to have a dashboard and they are going to monetize all the assets. So what is the monetization of assets? This is nothing but you are actually selling off some assets. So all these public sector enterprises, they have lots of assets. Understand this. So for example, if you look at the railways, so the railways have a lot of unused assets. So they have so much land, they have so much real estate, and this monetization, this means that the government is going to put them up for sale and they are going to get some funds. So that is asset monetization. This is actually sort of like privatization, but it has been used in a very fancy term, and I don't think that everybody understood the meaning of that. So make a note of it. And the capital expenditure, so very important figure, capital expenditure in financial year 2021-22, it's going to be 5.54 lakh crore rupees. And also note that 2 lakh crore rupees, it's going to be just allocated to the states. The health and well-being, this is also very important. It's going to be allocated 2,23,846 crores. So this is a jump by 137%. So it's a very big boost to the health infrastructure of India. The COVID vaccine, for that 35,000 crore rupees has been allocated. Important figure. National Rail Plan for India 2030. So the railways are going to become future ready, and for that the plan, this 2030 plan, it's going to be drafted. The contingency fund of India, it was earlier 500 crore rupees only. It will be raised to 30,000 crores. So that's also a very significant change. Now coming to the total size of this budget, so it's pegged at 34.83 lakh crore rupees. So it's a very important figure. Remember that the government, it has committed to the stated 15th Finance Commission devolution of 41%. So 41% is the devolution target of the 15th Finance Commission. I'll go into 15th Finance Commission sometime later. So just remember that 41% will be paid out to the states. Now the Western Dedicated Freight Corridor and the Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor, both of these are going to be commissioned by June 2022. 100% electrification of broad gauge routes will be done by December 2023. There's also good news for the metro rail projects. So new Metro Light and Metro Neo technologies, they are going to be used, and these are going to be at a lesser cost, and they are going to help all the ongoing metro projects. The total outlay for the railway sector, it is 1,10,055 crore rupees. The bus transport services, they have been allocated 18,000 crore rupees. The Discom scheme, so this is going to be a new distribution company scheme. So it's going to be at 3,05,984 crore rupees, and it's going to be for a period of 5 years. Now distribution companies, they have been saddled with a lot of debt, and they were not able to meet their obligations, and for them government has actually come out with this type of a scheme. And now also very important, the consumers will get to choose from multiple discoms. So you will be able to choose which distribution company you want to get electricity from. So you can actually choose, and this is actually done in most of the developed countries, and they are choosing the best service provider. So the government wants to get rid of monopoly in that sector. The next one, the recycling capacity of about 4.5 million light displacement ton LDT will be doubled by 2024, and additional 1.5 lakh jobs will be granted to our youth because of this. So this is a big push towards the renewable things. So you are actually pushing towards green jobs. And the finance minister also said that we are going to procure some recycling ships from Europe for this purpose. So there's a lot of activity in that field. And then we are going to extend the Ujjwala scheme to 1 crore more households. And so we have already had 8 crore households who have benefited from the Ujjwala scheme, and 1 crore more households are going to get access to this scheme. And 100 districts will be added to the city gas distribution network. This is also another important change which is actually power related. The gas pipeline project, it will be set up in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So that's an important developmental project. World class fintech hub will be set up at the GIFT City. So the GIFT IFSC, you know, IFSC is the International Financial Services Center. GIFT City is the Gujarat International Finance Tech City. So there will be a world class fintech hub at that place, and there's a lot of push towards the fintech hubs, and there's a lot of push also for the IFSCs. So it's a very important thing for the government to develop. Proposed investor charter for financial investors. So there's going to be an investor charter which will lay down all the important things that are given to the investors and all the important protections that are provided. So it's going to be very useful for all the financial investors in each and every market in India. Then we have the Solar Energy Corporation of India. It has been granted 1000 crore rupees. Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency granted 1500 crore rupees, and ARC Limited, Asset Reconstruction Company Limited, and an asset management company will be set up to dispose of NPAs to AIFs or investors. So AIF is the Alternative Investment Fund. So this is a very important news. We have been talking for a long time about a bad bank. Remember, a bank that's going to buy up all the NPAs and then they are going to do the resolution. So basically that is something that has finally been announced. So I'm sure that the economic advisors are going to be very happy about this, because finally we have a body that's going to take up all the NPAs and they are going to try and dispose of them in the best possible manner. So the FDI in insurance, now this is one of the most important things in the budget. It was raised to 74% from the earlier 49%. Now this will require an amendment of the Insurance Act 1938, but can you imagine 74%? So this means that in insurance now you can have a high amount of FDI. Now this is a game changer, because till now only the banks, they were actually given 74% limit in FDI, but now even insurance has been given this, and this will actually help a lot of foreign investors to invest into the market. But many people are concerned that some of the insurance companies, they are not going to be able to resist those things, and then some transfer of control will take place. But this is what it is, and the government wants more privatization, as I told you, and this is also a big step towards privatization. And also another very interesting change, the minimum loan size for the SARFAESI Act to be applicable for NBFCs, it has been reduced to 20 lakh rupees from earlier 50 lakh rupees. Now for this, the NBFCs that are going to be considered will have minimum asset size of 100 crore rupees. So that's the change. The public sector bank recapitalization funds in 2021-22, it's going to be 20,000 crores only. Tax holiday for startups till 31st March 2022. So for one more year, the startups can get the tax holiday. It was already mentioned in the previous budget, so that's just been extended. Residency limit for NRIs to set up OPCs or 1% companies. Now this is a very, very important change yet again. Now this residency limit, it has been reduced to 120 days from erstwhile 182 days. This is a huge change. So the NRIs, they have to stay in India only for 120 days, and it's not the 182 days like earlier. And also the OPC, the 1% companies, there's not going to be any capital restrictions as well. So anybody can come and they can actually invest in India, they can start their companies. So this is a huge boost to all the non-resident Indias, and a very positive ease of doing business step. Another very important thing about privatization, and as you understand, privatization is a very important focus in this budget. So privatization of BPCL, Air India, SCI, Concor, IDBI Bank, Pavan Hans, BML, etc. will be completed in this financial year. So you can see, like, it's a huge push for the government to do all the privatizations, and it's going to be a very important thing, very important year for that purpose. The interest deductions up to 1.5 lakh rupees are going to be granted for affordable housing loans till 31st March 2022. So for one more year, they have extended that deadline. The LIC IPO, that's also going to be done in 2021-22. The MSP, or the minimum support price, at 1.5 times the cost of production has been provided to almost all the crops, and that's what the government is saying to us. So as you know that the farmers protests have been going on, there was not any kind of mention towards it, but they said that MSP, it's not going to be impacted, so indirectly they are trying to pacify the farmers protest, but time will tell what's going to happen towards this. The financial year 2022 agri credit target, it's 16.5 lakh crore, a very important target, remember this. Micro irrigation fund, so this is under NABARD, so it is going to be 5,000 crore, so they have actually doubled it. Earlier in the last budget there was 5,000 crore and now it is another 5,000 crore given. The rural infrastructure development fund is going to get 40,000 crore rupees. So let's move to the next thing. The Operation Green scheme, it's going to be expanded from tomato, onion and potatoes to cover 22 perishable crops. So a lot of crops are going to be covered now. 5 major fishing hubs will be developed as hubs of economic activity. So which are these fishing hubs? These are Kochi, Chennai, Vishakhapatnam, Paradvip and Petuaghat. The total outlay for the MSME sector, it is 15,700 crore rupees. 750 Eklavya model residential schools will be set up and 100 Sainik schools are also going to be set up. The scheduled caste students, they are going to be getting 35,219 crore rupees over a period of 6 years so that they can have some development. Central University is going to be set up in Leh. Now this is very, very important. It's going to be a very unique university and it's going to be really boosting the education levels in Leh. The National Research Foundation NRF, it's going to get 50,000 crore rupees over a period of 5 years. 400 old custom duty exemptions are going to be reviewed and the government may discard with them, so they are going to actually just normalize all those tax structures. The NLTM, or the National Language Translation Mission, this was announced. So what they are going to do, they are going to just translate all these important things on the internet towards all the regional languages so that all people can get access to those information. No income tax for senior citizens greater than 75 years with only pension or interest income. Now this is also a very, very important change. So a very important tax relaxation given to our citizens. Gaganyaan, now there was a mention about Gaganyaan. So the first unmanned launch, it's going to happen on December 2021, and remember that 4 astronauts, they are now being trained in Russia under the Gaganyaan program. Deep Ocean Mission, 40,000 crore for 5 years they are going to set up. First digital census. Now this is also very important. In 2021 we are going to have that census. So the amount of money that they have given for this, it is 3,768 crore rupees. Goa liberation. So it's going to be the diamond jubilee year for Goa's liberation. 300 crore rupees has been allocated towards it. Next, for the boosting of digital payments, they are going to outlay 1,500 crore rupees. And remember that this is going to be for the incentive scheme. So you remember there are some schemes by which you can get incentives, you can get cashbacks, you can get some gifts. So total 1,500 crore rupees has been allocated towards that. For the reopening of assessments. Now this is also a very important change. Only till 3 years you can reopen. Earlier it was 6 years you could reopen the tax assessments, but now the tax assessments still only 3 years you can reopen. And if in case of some extreme case like when the amount is above 50 lakhs, then you can go for 10 years, but that will require some kind of a permission. Now the final point for this video, tax audit limits. Okay, I have made a mistake over here. It's not 10 years, it is actually 10 crores. So what has actually happened was that earlier what used to be that if you had a turnover of 1 crore rupees, then you had to go ahead and your auditing had to be done. But in the previous budget, the finance minister told us that if you have a turnover till 5 crore rupees, then you don't need to worry about it, provided that your digital transactions account for 95% of your business. And this time they have actually raised the limit to 10 crores. So if you have a turnover till 10 crore rupees, then you do not need to worry at all about tax audits. But your condition for that is that your digital transactions will have to account for 95% of all the transactions in your business. So if you are doing it digitally, then the government wants to give you some kind of a stimulus, some kind of an incentive. So this is all about the most important highlights of the budget. Stay tuned for the entire budget series that's going to come later on. And I hope that this actually helps you to navigate all the upcoming examinations. I hope you learned something from this video and that it was beneficial to you. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like button and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, please click on the subscribe button and do not forget to click the bell icon so that you, my friend, do not miss any future update. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.